There is an old saying, champions don't become champions in the ring. They are merely recognized there. That is true. If you want to see where someone develops into a champion, look at his daily routine. The former heavyweight champion Joe Frazier stated, "You can map out a fight plan or a life plan, but when the action starts, you are down to your reflexes. That is where your road work shows. If you cheated on that in the dark of the morning, you are getting found out now under the bright lights." Boxing is a good analogy for leadership development because it is all about daily preparation. Even if a person has natural talent, he has to prepare and train to become successful. One of this country's greatest leader was a fan of boxing, President Theodore Roosevelt. In fact, one of his most famous quotes uses a boxing analogy. "It is not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbled, or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs and comes short again and again, who knows the great enthusiasm, the great devotion, and spends himself in a worthy cause, who at best knows in the end the triumph of high achievement, and who, at the worst, if he fails, at least fails while daring greatly, so that his place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who know neither victory nor defeat." The boxer himself, Roosevelt, was not only an effective leader, but he was the most flamboyant of all U.S. presidents. Theodore Roosevelt was known for regular boxing and judo sessions, challenging horseback rides, and long, strenuous hikes. A French ambassador who visited Roosevelt used to tell about the time that he accompanied the president on a walk through the woods. When the two men came to the bank of a stream that was too deep to cross by foot, Theodore Roosevelt stripped off his clothes and expected the dignitary to do the same, so that they could swim to the other side. Nothing was an obstacle to Roosevelt. His enthusiasm and stamina seemed boundless. As the vice president candidate of 1900s, he gave 673 speeches and traveled 20,000 miles while campaigning for president. And years after his presidency, while preparing to deliver a speech in Milwaukee, Roosevelt was shot in the chest by a would-be assassin. With a broken rib and a bullet in his chest, Roosevelt insisted on delivering his 1 hour speech before allowing himself to be taken to the hospital. Of all the leaders this nation can ever had, Theodore Roosevelt was one of the toughest, both physically and mentally, but he didn't start that way. America's cowboy president was born in Manhattan to a prominent wealthy family. As a child, he was funny and very sickly. He had debilitating asthma, possessed very poor eyesight, and was painfully thin. His parents were sure he would survive. When he was 12, the young Roosevelt's father told him, "You have the mind, but you have not the body. And without the help of the body, the mind cannot go as far as it should. You must make the body." And make it he did. Theodore Roosevelt began spending time every day building his body as well as his mind. And he did that for the rest of his life. He worked out with weights, hiked, ice skated, hunted, rode horseback, and boxed. By the time Theodore Roosevelt graduated from Harvard, he was ready to tackle the world of politics. Roosevelt did not become a great leader overnight, neither. His road to presidency was one of slow, continual growth. As he served in various positions ranging from New York City Police Commissioner to President of the United States, he kept learning and growing. He improved himself, and in time he became a strong leader. Roosevelt's list of accomplishments is remarkable. Under his leadership, the United States emerged as a world power. He helped the countries develop a first-class navy. He saw that the Panama Canal was built. He negotiated peace between Russia and Japan, winning a Nobel Peace Prize in the process. And when people questioned Theodore Roosevelt's leadership since he had become president when McKinley was assassinated, he campaigned and was re-elected by the largest majority of any president up to his time. Ever the man of action, when Roosevelt completed his term as president in 1909, he immediately traveled to Africa, where he led a scientific expedition sponsored by the Smithsonian Institution. On January 6, 1919, at his home in New York, Theodore Roosevelt died in his sleep. Then Vice President Marshall said death had to take him sleeping, for if Roosevelt had been awake, there would have been a fight. When they removed him from his bed, they found a book under his pillow. Up to the very last, Theodore Roosevelt was still striving to learn and improve himself. If you want to be a leader, the good news is that you can do it. Everyone has the potential, but it is not accomplished overnight. It requires perseverance, and you absolutely cannot ignore that becoming a leader is a process. Leadership doesn't develop in a day. It takes a lifetime.